Are you interested in becoming a music therapist?
Yeah!
There are two paths you can take. First, you can apply to an undergraduate music therapy program and receive your bachelor's degree in music therapy, like Maddie. Or you can receive your bachelor's of music at the university of your choosing, and then apply to a graduate equivalency music therapy program and receive your master's in music therapy, like Cassidy. Let's take a further look into what each path entails. First, we have our undergraduate student, Maddie. Year 1.
This is the year I started to have a basic understanding of what music therapy truly is. I took introduction courses in guitar, piano, voice, and percussion, where my musicianship skills were developed and assessed. In addition to taking classes outside of the music department, I started general music credit courses, such as music theory.
That sounds great, Maddie. Learning fundamental music skills early on in your education is important for a successful career in music therapy. Now let's look into year 2.
This year, I learned a great deal about the therapeutic process and documentation. I also learned clinical techniques for working with both children and adults. The technique classes and testing of our musicianship skills prepared me for moving into practicum in year 3.
Those clinical technique classes sound really interesting. I'm curious to know more about practicum. Let's look into year 3.
This is the year I started practicum. During my first 2 semesters of practicum, I worked with a partner to provide music therapy services. Observing and co-leading sessions with another, more experienced student provided me the opportunity to learn about how to advocate for music therapy and how to successfully assess, treat, and terminate a full music therapy session. I started brainstorming where I wanted my internship to be as well.
Practicum allows a student to obtain real-world experience by working with clients under the supervision of a board-certified music therapist. Let's look into Maddie's final year.
This is the year I finished my coursework. I completed 2 more semesters of practicum, where I became the lead student music therapist in my partnership and began working independently in the clinical setting. I applied for internships and started interviews, as well as studied for the board certification exam. After getting my internship, I started to make plans for after graduation.
An internship of at least 6 months is required in order to sit for the board certification exam. Now that we know more about the undergraduate path one can take to become a music therapist, let's look at our second option with our graduate equivalency student, Cassidy. Year 1.
My program is a little unique. During my first semester as a graduate student, I juggled taking both undergraduate courses, including Introduction to Music Therapy and the Psychology of Music, as well as graduate coursework that focused on research in music therapy. Then, I jumped straight into my first 2 practicum experiences during my second semester. Similar to Maddie, I was placed at a site where I was given the opportunity to assess, document, and treat clients as a student music therapist.
The split school year sounds very unique indeed, and you were able to start music therapy practicum right away. How cool! Let's look into year 2.
My second year as a graduate equivalency student was filled with more graduate coursework and continued clinical practicum experiences. I also went through the process of applying and interviewing for my 6-month music therapy internship, and I began writing my master's thesis.
Wow! Do all graduate equivalency students have to complete a master's thesis?
That's a great question, Audrey. Actually, no. Most graduate equivalency programs have either a project-based option or a thesis option to complete the credits necessary to obtain a master's degree.
It's great that you have a choice. Tell us more about your final year, Cassidy.
The majority of my last year in the program consisted of completing a 6-month music therapy internship, taking the board certification exam, finalizing my master's thesis, and finishing up with one last clinical practicum experience. In the end, I graduated with a Master's of Music Education in Music Therapy from the University of Kansas.
And I graduated with a Bachelor's of Music in Music Therapy from the University of Kansas.
Although they both took very different paths, both Maddie and Cassidy are board-certified music therapists working out in the field with diverse populations. So whether you decide to jump into the field at 18, 22, 38, or 72, there are options to fulfill your dreams of helping others using music as a powerful tool for change.